down and get down from there.
I can't. I'm stuck.
But then why did you go up there in the first place?
I thought I saw something I needed, but no.
On top of my bust of Pallas? Above
Yeah.
my chamber door?
Yeah.
Come to think of it, I don't even know why I have one of those. It doesn't matter. Look, you're serious? Is that why? I thought you were just being obstinate. I thought you were I thought this was still part of that whole Raven shtick.
No. I thought I saw. Okay, so they sell these like Shack gummies now.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, I thought I saw a bag of them up here. And I was
Why?
just trying to get at those.
Why would? Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what? I was about to be real critical, but I apologize. It's that stupid bird that's been coming around. You know the one that got bored and left last time?
Yes.
They like
I do
shiny
remember the
objects.
bird.
Yeah, they like shiny objects, and sometimes they collect things. And this one in particular likes landing on my pallid bust of Pallas above my chamber door. And I thought I saw it stash something up there, but I just assumed it was like a new hairpiece for the statue.
Anyway, so can you like get me down from here?
Oh yeah, hold on. I mean, I got this fireplace poker. I could maybe get up there and get enough like cantilever right here.
Ow!
Sorry. Hold still, okay?
I'm holding still.
Gotta be stiller than that.
Ow! Hey, whoa, buddy! Not on a first date.
Okay. Sorry. God damn. Okay, not the poke. Okay, I'm gonna get a broom.
Okay.
I have one around here somewhere.
Fine.
Okay. Oh, hey. One thing I did find while you were up there and while I was just sitting here wondering why, I did find a bottle of Amontillado.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, so we'll celebrate getting you down with this Amontillado. But yeah, here's the broom. Hold on. Right? Oh, I think I got it.
Okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Shit. Okay.
God, how long were you up there?
It's been like 2 weeks, I think.
How did...
I had a bottle.
Matter.
Okay, I had a bottled water on me.
Okay, good.
One of those weeks, I was drinking my own pee.
That explains why it's still remarkably clean.
And as far as food goes, there were actually Shack gummies up there.
Okay, so that... Okay. Wow. Well, that Raven's gonna be pissed then.
Yeah.
You didn't eat the Raven, did you?
Oh yeah, I fucking ate that bird.
And you know, in a survival situation, I wouldn't blame you. If I'd known you were up there the whole time, I would have come back and tried to get you down from there sooner. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're wondering how all this happened and other science facts, I think we should just repeat to ourselves just a show, and you all should really just relax. Yeah. Welcome back to Undercooked Analysis here in the dark and gloomy parlor that is where I've been wallowing in my Poe-related grief. I am happy to have Alan with me again, now no longer wedged in a tiny gap between a marble bust and a cornice of the ceiling. Since we're here and since you're free, we should really consider figuring out what the next Poe story is in that F tier list.
Yeah, we should do that. If only someone had that list open and knew what the next story was.
That's okay. While you're doing that, I mean, I do realize you've been up there for a while and you look a little malnourished. Can I get you? Oh wait, hold on. Let me get that Amontillado ready.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah, while you're finding that, I just figured, it was funny. It was in the back of that closet, like you mentioned last time.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah. There was a skeleton holding it.
That's probably nothing.
Yeah, probably not. It was, probably just the same because for some reason it was just like, it was actually like wearing a jester's cap and like chained to the back wall. It was really weird.
That is weird.
I didn't even know I had one of those. Not a skeleton, a closet. But yeah, how's here you go. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Thank you. How is it?
Pretty good. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah. It's not the best vintage of it, I'm sure, but it's...
I mean, it's like fine.
Yeah, it's,
I could take or leave it.
It's like Red Letter Media has been said just recently about the film. So it was a lot of fun, but... we're back to do more Poe. We had so much fun with the last one. It was a lot of fun. All right, Alan has just put in front of me the next story. This is called The Imp of the Perverse. Oh boy.
Looks like might be shorter than our usual fare.
That's fine. I mean, listen, that last one went on for over an hour, and I think it might be nice to, keep it short and sweet. We'll see what happens. But this is story 2 of 4 of some rando's F tier Poe stories. At least this one doesn't say it's an allegory. A story containing an allegory.
I know after this we're only going to have 2 more episodes of this because there's only 2 more in the F tier. But what are we calling this segment?
Oh, Poe is me.
Poe Standards.
Poe money, Poe problems.
Poe money, Poe problems.
I think I like Poe Standards, but that's my pitch for the name of this segment, which will only be 4 episodes, unfortunately. Although, admittedly, if this becomes a trend and we want to read stuff by other vintage horror writers and see what other people consider some of their worst work, I mean, it's not like we haven't set a precedent for it with Bram Stoker.
Yeah.
I just pray this isn't racist.
Also, Diddy was on Mo Money, Mo Problems.
Hey,
just man. Stuff is bad.
Stuff is bad. That's why we're here.
Have you heard?
Listen,
Have you heard the latest about Diddy?
I don't keep up with this stuff. So
I will tell you, like his head lawyer quit.
Oh,
and said he could not be associated with Diddy or this case anymore. And his head lawyer also represented Osama bin Laden previously.
Oh my God!
What the fuck does this man know about Diddy that like this that's too far?
I am terrified. I don't know if I want to know. Oh geez. Ooh.
Anyway,
The Imp of the Perverse, am I right?
Yeah.
The
Imp of the Perverse.
This was published in 1850. So 15 years after King Pest. Yes.
I have nothing else to add. I thought I did.
Yeah, I couldn't. I have nothing to offer. I'm not. We are just full of vim and vinegar tonight, aren't we? I mean, I don't blame you because you were stuck up there for a while. So
yeah, no, I'm full of uncooked dead bird,
Shack gummies
and some wine.
Oh yeah, well the wine is pretty good.
I probably have some manner of bird flu.
Oh. Well, hey, if worst case scenario, we've already got the funeral trappings for you. I've already got a painting of you on the wall.
Yeah. We still haven't talked about why that's there.
Well, I should probably explain. You see, the matter of in the consideration of the faculties and impulses of the prima mobilia of the human soul, the phrenologists have failed to make room for a propensity which, although obviously existing as a radical, primitive, irreducible sentiment, has been equally overlooked by all the moralists who have preceded them. In the pure arrogance of the reason, we have all overlooked it. We have suffered its existence to escape our senses, solely through want of belief or faith, whether it be faith in revelation or faith in the Kabbalah. The idea of it has never occurred to us, simply because of its he got me already, supererogation. We saw no need of the impulse.
We can click on it and it says what it means.
Well, that's helpful. The act of performing more than is required by duty, obligation, or need. Okay. We saw no need of the impulse for the propensity. We could not perceive its necessity. We could not understand. That is to say, we could not have understood had the notion of this primum mobile ever obtruded itself. We could not have understood in what manner it might be made to further the objects of humanity, either temporal or eternal. It cannot be denied that phrenology and, in great measure, all metaphysicianism have been concocted a priori. the intellectual or logical man, rather than the understanding or observant man, set himself to imagine design, to dictate purposes of God. Having thus fathomed to his satisfaction the intentions of Jehovah, out of these intentions he built his innumerable systems of mind. In the matter of phrenology, for example, we first determined naturally enough that it was the design of the deity that man should eat. We then assigned to man an organ of alimentiveness, and this organ is the scourge with which the deity compels man willy-nilly into eating. Secondly, having settled it to be God's will that man should continue his species, we discovered an organ of amativeness forthwith. And so with combativeness, with ideality, with causality, with constructiveness. So, in short, with every organ, whether representing a propensity, a moral sentiment, or faculty of the pure intellect, and in these arrangements of the principle of human action, the Spurzheimites, which might right or wrong, in part, I'm going to pause. Followers of Spurzheim, Johann Gaspar Spurzheim.
I only did 1 year at junior college, and I have attended lectures while hungover, and
I think I already like King Pest better than this. Anyway,
this feels like school.
Professor Poe is here to tell us apparently all about phrenology. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, a phrenologist is a person who studies the conformation of the skull based on the belief that it is indicative of mental faculties and character, which is inherently a very racist science.
Yeah.
And by the way, it was explained on me. I first heard of phrenology on The Muppet Show with Fozzie Bear explaining that phrenology is telling someone's fortune by reading the bumps on their head. Which he then proceeded to hit Kermit on the head with a hammer a bunch.
Yeah. Well, I do think Poe here, if I'm understanding what he's saying, is that phrenology is failing. Phrenology fails to account for a lot of human behavior.
Yes, that's definitely he's basically taking digs at them.
Yeah.
And in these arrangements of the principle of human action, the Spurzheimites, whether right or wrong, in part or upon the whole, have not followed in principle the footsteps of their predecessors, deducing and establishing everything from their preconceived destiny of man and upon the ground of the objects of his creator. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to try and cliff notes this again, but does a narrative happen? I hope a narrative happens.
That would be great. So far,
looks like it. Scrolling down, it looks like it does become a story at some point.
Okay, hang on. I'm just going to the fucking Wikipedia page because I need to know something before this goes on any further for the sake of this podcast.
Okay. Is it too late to eject this story and do a different one?
Okay. I think we're fine. It is a short story beginning as an essay, is what it says on the Wikipedia.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So the last story was a story containing an allegory. This is an essay containing a story.
Okay.
Woo! Thank goodness. Thank you, Alan. Thank you for clarifying.
I was not going to allow this to continue if I read any different.
I'm with you. Hey, future Maureen, can you play Bolero again?
And Six Underground.
Bolero, you can start with Six Underground and then have it segue into Bolero before we get into copyright territory. Because the nice thing is, again, I stress this, Bolero is in the public domain. Six Underground is not.
Okay. It would have been wiser, it would have been safer, to classify, if classify we must, upon the basis of what man usually or occasionally did, and was always occasionally doing, rather than upon the basis of what we took it for granted the deity intended him to do. If we cannot comprehend God in his visible works, how then in his conceivable thoughts that call the works into being? If we cannot understand him in his objective creatures, how then in his substantive moods of phases of creation?
Dog sees God has nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay, induction, a posteriori, which is, since it does have a health note, reasoning from observed facts, would have brought phonology to admit, as an innate and primitive principle of human action, a paradoxical something, which we may call perverseness, for want of a more characteristic term. In the sense I intend, it is, in fact, a mobile within motive, a motive not motivert. Though through its promptings, we act without comprehensible object. Or, if this shall be understood as a contradiction in terms, we may so far modify the proposition as to say that through its prompting we act, for the reason that we should not. In theory, no reason can be more unreasonable, but in fact, there is none more strong. With certain minds, under certain conditions, it becomes absolutely irresistible. I am not more certain that I breathe than that the assurance of the wrong or error of any action is often the one unconquerable force which impels us, and alone impels us in its prosecution. Nor will this overwhelming tendency to do wrong for the wrong's sake admit or of analysis or resolution into ulterior elements. It is a radical, a primitive, impulse elementary. It will be said, I am aware, that when we persist in acts because we feel we should not persist in them, our conduct is but a modification of that which ordinarily springs from the combativeness of phrenology. But a glance will show the fallacy of this idea. The phrenological combativeness has for its essence the necessity of self-defense. It is our safeguard against injury. Its principle regards our well-being, and thus the desire to be well is excited simultaneously with its development. It follows that the desire to be well must be excited. Did I read that already?
Maybe.
Okay. Simultaneously with any principle which shall be merely a modification of combativeness, but in the case of that, something which I term perverseness. The desire to be well is not only not aroused, but a strongly antagonistical sentiment exists. What the Okay.
Okay.
You know, it would help if phrenology was still topical today, but it's not. So people mostly understand it as quackery.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna run into that issue reading old stories, I guess.
I miss legs and tarpaulin right now. I wonder how they're doing with
those
Queen
women they
Pest
kidnapped
and Duchess Anna Pest. Oh God.
Okay. Who knows? This might be the reverse of the last thing we read. Maybe this is gonna... That one had sort of a fun build-up and an ending that just destroyed everything.
Yeah.
Maybe this is gonna have a build-up that sucks and we're gonna end strong.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Take it away, buddy.
An appeal to one's own heart is, after all, the best reply to the sophistry just noticed. No one who trustingly consults and thoroughly questions his own soul will be disposed to deny the entire radicalness of the propensity in question. It is not more incomprehensible than distinctive. There lives no man who at some period has not been tormented, for example, by an earnest desire to tantalize a listener by circumlocution. Oh my god, this is brilliant, actually.
The use of unnecessarily large number of words.
Hold on, wait. This is awesome. Now.
Okay.
He just... I think Poe just revealed to us that everything that we just read was meant to fuck with us.
Oh my god. Okay, please. Okay.
The speaker is aware that he displeases. He has every intention... Oh my god.
Edgar, you beauty!
He has every intention to please. He is usually curt, precise, and clear. The most laconic or luminous language is struggling for utterance upon his tongue. It is only with difficulty that he restrains himself from giving it flow. He dreads and deprecates the anger of him who he addresses. Yet the thought strikes him that by certain involutions and parentheses this anger may be engendered. That single thought is enough. The impulse increases to a wish. The wish to a desire, the desire to an uncontrollable longing, and the longing, to the deep regret and mortification of the speaker and in defiance of all consequences, is indulged. Beautiful.
I do it because I know it pisses people off.
And right after he says, by certain involutions and parentheses, this anger may be engendered. And then, one sentence after that, he has additional information in parentheses.
It's so good. Oh, wow, this is meta. Oh, my God. Okay. We have a task before us which must be speedily performed. We know that it will be ruinous to make delay. The most important crisis of our life calls, trumpet-tongued, for immediate energy and action. We glow, we are consumed with eagerness to commence the work, with the anticipation of whose glorious result our whole souls are on fire. It shall be undertaken today. And yet we put it off until tomorrow. And why? There is no answer, except that we feel perverse, using the word with no comprehension of the principle. Tomorrow arrives, and with it a more impatient anxiety to do our duty. With the very increase of anxiety arrives also a nameless, a positively fearful, because unfathomable craving for delay. This craving gathers strength as the moments fly. The last hours for action is at hand. We tremble with the violence of the conflict within us, of the definite with the indefinite, of the substance with the shadow. But if the contest have proceeded thus far, it is the shadow which prevails. We struggle in vain. The clock strikes and is the knell of the welfare. At the same time, it is the chanticleer. Note to the ghost that has so long overawed us. It flies, it disappears. We are free. The old energy returns. We will labor now. Alas, it is too late. So, hey, procrastination, right, gang?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're getting somewhere.
Getting somewhere.
We stand upon the brink of a precipice. We peer into the abyss. We grow sick and dizzy. Our first impulse is to shrink from the danger. Unaccountably, we remain. By slow degrees, our sickness and dizziness and horror become merged in a cloud of unnameable feeling. By gradations, still more imperceptible, this cloud assumes shape, as did the vapor from the bottle out of which arose the genius in the Arabian Nights.
I assume he means like the genius is in the genie?
Possibly.
Yeah.
But out of this, our cloud upon the precipice's edge, there grows into palpability a shape, far more terrible than any genius or any demon of a tale. Hey, while I'm talking, can you just look up if genies are referred to as geniuses ever?
Alright, we'll do that right now. Carry on.
And yet it is but a thought, although a fearful one, and one which chills the very marrow of our bones with the fierceness of the delight of its horror. It is merely the idea of what would be our sensations during the sweeping precipitancy of a fall from such a height. And this fall, this rushing annihilation, for the very reason that it involves that one most ghastly and loathsome of all the most ghastly and loathsome images of death and suffering, which has ever presented themselves to our imagination. For this very cause do we now the most vividly desire it. And because our reason violently deters us from the brink, therefore we do the most impetuously approach it. There is no passion in nature so demoniacally impatient as that of him who, shuddering upon the edge of a precipice, thus meditates a plunge. To indulge for a moment, and any attempt at thought is to be inevitably lost. For reflection but urges us to forbear, and therefore it is. I say that we cannot. If there be no friendly arm to check us, or if we fail in a sudden effort to prostrate ourselves backward from the abyss, we plunge and are destroyed.
So some scholars relate the Arabic term jinn to the Latin genius, a guardian spirit of people and places in Roman religion. That's the origin of the word genius. But some people think that it's also related to the term jinn.
I think we're talking like self-destructive tendencies here.
I think we are. Or like, yeah, there's a notion that, you wouldn't, where did these come from? All logic says you shouldn't do this, but then people entertain that desire like, yeah, but what if I did jump in? Even if it's horrible, what if I did? That's morbid. Like, really analyzing that idea, huh?
Yeah,
Ooh, fascinating. Examine these similar actions as we will. We shall find them resulting solely from the spirit of the perverse. We perpetrate them because we feel that we should not. Beyond or behind this, there is no intelligible principle, and we might, indeed, deem this perverseness a direct instigation of the archfiend, were it not occasionally known to operate in furtherance of good. Oh, the devil made me do it. But perhaps one of these things can be in the furtherance of good?
Okay. I remembered the term I was trying to think of when I said self-destructive tendencies. I knew there was a better word for what I was thinking.
And that is?
Intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts. So this is an essay about essentially intrusive thoughts.
I think so.
And trying to understand where they come from and why they're there.
And I guess that's what the imp of the perverse is.
Oh,
is
cool.
What we're going to get into.
All right. So it's an essay containing an allegory.
I have said thus much, that in some measure I may answer your question, that I may explain to you... Okay, here we go. We're getting into a narrative, I think.
There we are.
I have said thus much, that in some measure I may answer your question, that I may explain to you why I am here. That I may assign to you something that shall have at least the faint aspect of a cause for my wearing these fetters, and for my tenanting this cell of the condemned.
Yep.
Had I not been thus prolix, you might have misunderstood me altogether, or with the rabble have fancied me mad. As it is, you will easily perceive that I am one of the many uncounted victims of the imp of the perverse.
Oh. This is a classic Poe trope. This is someone who is condemned or is a prisoner or has already done something terrible, and now we're going to find out why.
Yeah.
Okay. It is impossible that any deed could have been wrought with a more thorough deliberation. Oh, is this just the telltale heart again? No. For weeks, for months, I pondered upon the means of the murder. I rejected 1,000 schemes because the accomplishment involved the chance of detection. At length, in reading some French memoirs, I found an account of a nearly fatal illness that occurred to Madame Pilau through the agency of a candle accidentally poisoned. The idea struck my fancy at once. I knew my victim's habit of reading in bed. I knew, too, that his apartment was narrow and ill-ventilated. But I need not vex you with impertinent details. I need not describe the easy artifices by which I substituted in his own bedroom candlestand a wax light of my own making, for this one which I there found. The next morning he was discovered dead in his bed, and the coroner's verdict was death by the visitation of God. Poison candle, poison candle, where's the candle, where's the candle?
Okay. I have... it's all about sticking the landing now, but this one turned around for me.
It really did. It really did. But we'll have to see if it hits, because this could end up being better than King Pest at this rate, which is crazy.
Having inherited his estate, all went well with me for years. The idea of detection never once entered my brain. Of the remains of the fatal taper I had myself carefully disposed. I had left no shadow of a clue by which it would be possible to convict, or even to suspect me of the crime. It is inconceivable how rich a sentiment of satisfaction arose in my bosom, as I reflected upon my absolute security. For a very long period of time I was accustomed to revel in this sentiment. It afforded me more real delight than all the mere worldly advantages accruing from my sin. But there arrived at length an epoch, yeah, from which the pleasurable feeling grew, by scarcely perceptible gradations, into a haunting and harassing thought. It harassed because it haunted. I could scarcely get rid of it for an instant. It is quite a common thing to be thus annoyed with the ringing in our ears, or rather in our memories, of the burthen of some ordinary song, or some unimpressive snatches from an opera. Nor will we be the less tormented if the song in itself be good, or the opera air meritorious. In this manner, at last, I would perpetually catch myself pondering upon my security, and repeating in a low undertone the phrase, I am safe.
So the intrusive thought says, man, what if someone's catching on to you? What if you're not? What if you're not safe? One day, while sauntering along the streets, I arrested myself in the act of murmuring half aloud these customary syllables. In a fit of petulance, I remodeled them thus. I am safe. I am safe. Yes. If I be not fool enough to make open confession...
No sooner had I spoken these words than I felt an icy chill creep to my heart. I had had some experience in these fits of perversity, whose nature I have been at some trouble to explain, and I remembered well that in no instance I had successfully resisted their attacks. And now my own casual self-suggestion that I might possibly be fool enough to confess the murder of which I had been guilty confronted me, as if the very ghost of him who I had murdered, and beckoned me on to death.
This is like you know what? This is a proto Telltale Heart. That's basically what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Although, let me remind myself when the original Telltale Heart was written. Hold on.
This story was published 1845.
The Telltale Heart was originally published
1843.
This is 1850.
Telltale Heart was published 1843. Imp of the Perverse originally published 1845. So 2 years.
Oh, 2 years. Wait, the Imp of the Perverse says at the top published 1850. Someone's got their dates wrong.
Wikipedia says 1845.
Okay, so 2 years later he writes this, and it's basically the same thing, almost.
Kinda.
Okay, so I don't know. Anyway,
I think Imp of the Perverse is specifically more focused on the idea of what I said earlier, intrusive thoughts. Yeah. And I absolutely love the twist of the beginning essay, and then it telling us that it was fucking with us.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm kind of reminded of the weird like no chalk written in chalk in the last one too.
Yeah.
At first, I made an effort to shake off this nightmare of the soul. I walked vigorously, faster, still faster. At length, I ran. I felt a maddening desire to shriek aloud. Every succeeding wave of thought overwhelmed me with new terror, for alas, I too well understood that to think in my situation was to be lost. I still quickened my pace. I bounded like a madman through the crowd thoroughfares. At length, the populace took the alarm and pursued me. I felt then the consummation of my fate. Could I have torn out my tongue? I would have done it, but a rough voice resounded in my ears. A rougher grasp seized me by the shoulder. I turned. I gasped for breath. For a moment, I experienced all the pangs of suffocation. I became blind and deaf and giddy, and then some invisible fiend, I thought, struck me with his broad palm upon the back. The long-imprisoned secret burst forth from my soul.
They say that I spoke with a distinct enunciation, but with marked emphasis and passionate hurry, as if in dread of interruption before concluding the brief but pregnant sentences that consigned me to the hangman and to hell.
Ooh. Having related all that was necessary for the fullest judicial conviction, I fell prostrate in a swoon.
But why shall I say more? Today I wear these chains, and am here. Tomorrow I shall be fetterless, but where? Okay. Yeah. No, this,
You know what?
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with the ranking.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just in my opinion, a slightly different Telltale Heart kind of story. Without, I think, the more striking visuals or method of murder, not as horrific, but the essay that slowly becomes a story is kind of fun. In that, as you pointed out, it does twist around and become something that is kind of metafictional, which is funny. But no, I do not find this remotely terrible. Just not the most exciting, but I liked it. It's okay. It's an average Poe story.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is a C to a B plus.
Oh, I'd firmly put it in a C tier. I'd say a solid C for me. Definitely not. I wouldn't say an F tier story.
And I think maybe I was a little on the fence last time. But let me assure everyone now, King Pest is an F.
Yeah, King Pest is absolutely an F. I've thought about it since then. In fact, I've even listened to us tell the story, and I think I got a little closer to, even in hindsight, understanding a little bit more of what was going on. But then it just gets thrown out the window by some of the just questions I have about what the fuck is going on. So I'm not really that much closer to completely wrapping my head around what King Pest is supposed to be about. Although I'm starting to think that King Pest,
if I were to write a story like King Pest, it would be I don't know. It would, for the most part, be a horror story that you thought was building to an allegory, but then all of a sudden it would be and then Tommy Poopy Pants burst into the room. We all know who Tommy Poopy Pants is, right? And then Tommy Poopy Pants drank all the alcohol and set all of us on fire.
Well, that's another Poe story. That's another one from the F tier. That is not an F tier story.
Yeah, well, that is the first one from the F tier that is not an F tier story.
Oh, true. I mean, there's another one from the F tier, comma, and it's not an F tier story. Is what I was.
Yes.
This is
gotcha.
why. This is Poe made a very good point. This is why language is important.
Yeah.
Oh boy! And if you enjoy the what we have to say here on this really, really very dumb show, you can support our podcast network in many different ways. This show is part of the Creative Horror Network, and you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on your favorite podcast app if you might be listening to it in one of those places. If not one, then the other. And if not there, maybe on the Creative Horror website itself, creativehorror.com, where we have many, many fine podcasts, including the recently updated Jameson tapes with Pontypool. We do like a good Pontypool.
Pontypool's good. Hey, and this is going out in enough time that I can right now say that, hey, everybody, on the 15th of March, starting at 12 p.m., I will be going live on Twitch, and I will be going live for 24 hours. I will be doing a 24-hour live stream from 12 p.m. Saturday the 15th to 12 p.m. Sunday the 16th. And I'm not just going to be playing the same game the whole time this time.
There's a whole variety of games, right?
Yes. There are going to be 4 6-hour blocks. In the first 6-hour blocks, I am going to be playing Supermarket Simulator and continuing Mothman Mart.
Yes.
The second 6-hour block is going to be a boomer shooter block. I'm going to be playing Blood, and I just purchased a game on Steam that's newer, but it is, I think, in the boomer shooter tradition, and it's called Bears in Space.
Nice.
The third block is going to be indie horror, and given what I've been told the length of the game is, I'm probably to completion going to be playing Mouthwashing.
Mouthwashing is on my radar right now, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
I know nothing about the game except that people cosplaying characters from it keeps popping up in my TikTok feed. So,
someone I know described it as it's definitely more of a psychological horror game, and that it's like Twin Peaks in space.
And in the final block, the 6 a.m. to noon block, I am going to. I may switch around the boomer shooter block and the indie horror block, just so more people are around for the indie horror block. Me playing boomer shooters will probably be fine to watch, but I should consider my schedule based around the type of people who will be awake during stuff.
True that.
But my final 6 a.m. to noon block, I'm continuing the Mass Effect tradition, and I'm going to start streaming Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah,
we're going to build the successor to Shemp. I'm probably going to name them Curly, but I'm sure they will end up being just as, if not even more ridiculous looking than Shemp was. And yeah, 24-hour stream. We'll have a Tiltify going so everyone can donate to the Trevor Project.
Fuck yeah.
And if one person drops a $100 donation, I will be live on stream tasting the chili dog G Fuel.
Oh, no.
I have tasted it before. It's been a long time. But I had it in my mind when I initially tasted it, like, for the bit, I'm going to drink this whole thing. And then I tasted it and my body went, never. No.
Your body violently rebelled against your intrusive thoughts.
Not even as a joke. Spit it out right now.
Oh, Alan, the things you will do for science.
For charity.
I appreciate it. For charity. Specifically for charity, though.
It was for charity.
I appreciate you so much. I want to make that clear, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yeah, so throughout the stream, people from Creative Horror will be dropping in. Maybe some people from Coffee and Pie might be jumping in as well.
That'll be fun.
But yeah. My After the Ides of March stream.
Oh boy, at Tuberte?
Oh, my stream starts on the Ides of March.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it'd be great if someone.
Future Maureen, can you put in the rhino noise there? Hey, we have a Patreon, by the way, patreon.com/creative horror, where you can donate money and hear our drags. If you want to hear us talk about, if you want to hear Alan tell a sad but also kind of amazing story about his cats, it's there. Or it will be after this a week after this episode airs.
Yeah.
And there's lots of other good stuff there too that you might enjoy from years past. We have backlogs of stuff going back ages. And I want to thank our patrons again, the patrons who have been with us, who've stuck around, who've shown us their support all this time, for everything you've done. You help keep the lights on at Creative Horror, and we appreciate you. And I should say that probably literally every episode, but this is a dumb show and I forget. So thank you. Really, earnestly, thank you. The show's been going on for 10 years and wouldn't probably still be going without some of your support. Or though it might be still be going in some capacity, because I love this guy over here and I want to keep doing things with him. So this is a great excuse to do that.
If we ever end up doing any additional merch for this show, it's just going to be like UCA. This show is dumb.
Just big, elaborate letters at the top. UCA, and then in small text in parentheses, this show is dumb. I think that's perfect.
Anyway, bye.
Okay, yeah, bye. Wow, what a great Jameson tapes ending.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at CreativeHorror.com.